Well, we still have with us Mr. Saleh Alhassan, who is the Secretary General Miyetti Allah Kauta Hore, and we also have with us Baba Ingel Zarma, who is the Secretary General of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. Well, just before we went on break, we said that we will give you a chance to respond to the allegations that have been made against your association, Mr. Alhassan.
Well, those are mischievous allegations feeding into the popular narratives. Our organizations are not terrorist organizations. We don't support terrorism. We don't condone violence of whatever nature. That is on one side. But if we are going to look at drivers of conflicts in Nigeria, particularly the North Central region, we have the data, we have the names. And those people are still working freely. That man that spoke from the Middlebury Youth Forum, I presume he's from Southern Kaduna.
Elders Forum.
Yes, he's from Southern Kaduna. Today we have Zamani Lekod working freely, haven't perpetrated genocide on the Muslim population in Southern Kaduna. You have the recent late Secretary of Khan, Jonathan Asake. No single Muslim is in his village. He superintended their killings. Today you have a senator sitting in the Senate, Senator Jonah Jang. He built his political career on the blood of Plani pastoralists on the plateau. He is working free. Today you have the Speaker of Taraba State House Assembly, Jia, working freely, haven't perpetrated the massacre on the Mambila plateau. Today you have the ex-local government of Kaduna local government.
Yes, we have to.
You're making statements against individuals who will not be able to defend themselves here.
Okay.
But just let us, come back to what, to the initial discussion we were having before we went to Lagos. You were talking about, do you want to follow up on your line of
absolutely.
question?
We were talking about how do we, put minds together to come up with solutions. And the question I want to ask is, when you look at what Mr. President Faure Eyadima from Togo was in Katsina just last week, and he urged Nigerians to not look at the issue as an ethnic issue or religious issue, that it's even in Togo and other African countries, and they're facing it for what it is, which is a crisis that has to do with a battle for natural resources. Now, if that is the case, if we have seen farmers and herdsmen clash in a militant fashion in Mali, in Niger, in Ghana, in Togo, and now it's in Nigeria, at what point do your organizations begin to see how you can systematically separate those who are innocent pastoralists from those who are clearly armed militants intent on not just damaging your own reputations, but also damaging the lives of the farmers that they inflict violence on?
Well, you see, we must understand this crisis and its dynamics. You see, there are security components of the crisis, which is purely a security matter, where you have armed bandits, you have criminal elements that are perpetrating conflicts within the West African sub-region. And then you have issues that have to do with the land resources, the issue that has to border on competition for the existing land resources, and you have to take cognizance into the climatic factors that have come into play. Today you have the desert advancing into northern Nigeria at the rate of 6% per annum. The north is alleged to be losing about 350,000 hectares of land per annum from desert encroachment. The Lake Chad that used to support a population of over 30 million communities have shrunk to about just 3,000 from the 25,000 square kilometers of that lake, and nothing is being done. And you have bulge in the population in this country, and we are not managing it. And at the same, to worsen matters, policies that are aimed to solve these problems are strongly resisted. Attempts were made to put up a commission for the grazing reserves to see how they can be revived. It was shut down in the National Assembly. The Minister of Agri have been trying all his effort to see that solutions are brought to the table. People impute political motives into it and kill the policy. Today we have a national livestock development plan that is well articulated. But you see people that have been clamoring, we should ranch our cows. They are the ones saying now they will not accept ranches. So what are we talking about? So you see, we must understand the socio-political dynamics, the undercurrents, the policy that is being played. Today we have this issue of ecological destructions of the land resources, but today the ecological funds have become slush funds, where politicians loot money Most of them are going to jail. If you check, they have eaten ecological funds that are supposed to be used to manage the environment. Today, while we have the upsurge of conflicts on the Plateau State PDP Youth Vanguard said as long as Governor John Ajang is being tried, there won't be peace on the Plateau.
Mr. Alhassan, let me just ask both of you, really. You know, when I talk to both sides, you hear from the Middle Belt Forum, you talk to indigents from Plateau, from Benue, from Taraba. What you tend to hear from the other side is that, look, our people are being ravaged. They're just being completely violated and brutalized innocently by Fulani herdsmen. When we talk to you, we hear that, oh, our people are innocent pastoralists, their cows are being stolen, they're being killed, and essentially these communities, these farmlands have vigilantes or armed youths who are killing our pastoralists. Somewhere, everybody sees it from their own side. There doesn't seem to be any acknowledgement of any fault on the side of anybody who's speaking. How do you address the problem if you can't acknowledge that there's some mutuality in what we're seeing in the country? Mr. Alhassan, can you start, please?
Yes, first, we must accept that the pastoralist is indigenous to Nigeria. They are not aliens. The issue of citizenship must be addressed. The settler-indigent dichotomy must be addressed. The pastoralists that have been in a community for over 100 years, they are still seen as aliens. So if you deny people citizenship, automatically you have programmed them to be excluded from governance. So there must be inclusive governance that will make sure that development comes to all communities. You don't allow laws that seems to promote segregation against particular economic groups as solutions to problems. Where you have indigenous mobile population, we don't have title to the lands. The Land Use Act vests the land in the hands of state governors. But the pastoralists in Nigeria are indigenous to this geographic area.